What's up, everybody? You guys are actually cracking me up here in the chat. I want to show you guys a couple of these. If this is true, aliens better get here fast and take me away. And you guys are all going off the title here of this President Trump, Erika Kirk appointment. This cannot be real life. What in the hell is Trump doing? This is absolutely insane. Someone tell me this is a freaking joke. What new insanity is this? And then this one, this has to be a sick joke or clickbait, please. This is one of the very few times I've seen you all here on social media asking for clickbait. Now, sometimes we get accused of it here of, oh, this is clickbaity. What are you doing? Now you guys are, now you're begging for it because you don't want this to be true. Oh, man. Good stuff. Well, I do have some quick housekeeping that I want to get through. You know how I know that I've made it? You guys, I've made it. Like you're watching someone here who has made it. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that with any type of arrogance or unfair confidence. Like, it's an objective fact. You know how I've made it? Look at this. Dave Rubin has blocked me on X. Oh, and the only reason that I know this, you guys, is because I actually came across a video that he put out yesterday, and he provided an innovatively bad take on the war in Iran. He said this, and he said, like, he was being innovative with it. No one has ever talked about this, but I'm going to, is what Dave Rubin said. He said the purpose of this war in Iran is to end all wars. He was saying that, guys, getting involved with Israel in this war, this is the last war that we'll ever need to have. This is the war that's going to end all wars. I was going to play that clip here to tear it apart today on today's show, but unfortunately I can't get to it because I've discovered that I have been blocked by Dave Rubin and I cannot share his content. Well, actually, I just thought of this. I could actually just go to his YouTube and clip it out of his show. Meh, whatever. He might have blocked me, actually, for the post that I put up, though, last night. Piers Morgan is getting into it right now with Ben Shapiro and Dave Rubin because Piers is now experiencing that stereotypical behavior from Zionists that Charlie Kirk was going through. And we're going to get to that here in a second. But Piers has been speaking out against this war in Iran. And I want to show you this. Look what Dave Rubin said about him. Dave Rubin said, I'm pretty sure Megyn, speaking of Megyn Kelly, got some of the Botox in her brain, and Piers would sell his mother to a jihadist for a click. Piers then responded to that, said, wow. 4 months ago, I drove out to Rubin's podcast at his home in Miami as a personal favor. I thought that we were friends. How wrong could I be? What a treacherous little weasel. Being Netanyahu's useful idiot has sent him and Shapiro nuts. I then responded to Piers because I said this to Piers on his show when I appeared on it. I said to him, Piers, I told you on your show that Dave Rubin was a douche. You should have listened to me. You should have listened to me, Piers. This would have saved you some heartache here recently. Well, I guess Dave Rubin didn't like that too much. And you know what? I truly consider it an honor, you guys, to be blocked by Dave Rubin. I want nothing to do with Dave Rubin as far as politics, morals, faith, really anything that he has to do with. I want none of it. So, that being said, I started off today happy. Great mood. Like, let's go. That was at least until I received the news that President Trump appointed Erika Kirk to the Air Force Academy Board of Visitors, where she is going to be advising the Department of Defense on issues affecting the Air Force Academy. And there are some disturbing details about this appointment that you all need to be very aware of. This is utterly ridiculous, as you're about to see. Also, Dinesh D'Souza interviewed Bob Shillman, who is the Turning Point USA donor that pulled his $2 million per year donation from Charlie Kirk right before he was assassinated for refusing to deplatform Jew hater, as he calls him, Tucker Carlson. Remember, these now famous text messages. Just lost, Charlie Kirk says, another huge Jewish donor. $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Okay? Guys, this is that donor. Shillman reveals here why he did it, what he told Charlie, and he also revealed a very big mistake that Charlie Kirk made with another massive Zionist donor. This is a big deal. And we're going to start here with Shillman and then build up to this President Trump, Erika Kirk appointment. I'm Zach Costello.
You gave support in the millions of
dollars.
About
millions.
5 million, would you say?
It's between 3 and 5. I honestly, I'd have
over
to check.
over a period,
over a 10-year, 12-year period. Yeah. And but I became very concerned. This was about 2 months before his untimely death. I became very concerned with his giving a lot of credence to people like Tucker Carlson. And when there were big organizational meetings like Turning Point America or AmeriFest, right up on the big brochures next to Charlie was Tucker Carlson. And of course, I've been following Tucker Carlson. I used to like watching him when he was on Fox News. I liked his attitude. You know, he's a little sarcastic. But then, for some reason, something changed, and he became, in my view, a Jew hater. I don't use the term anti-Semitic. And Tucker has his own show and where he platformed known Jew haters. So I talked to Charlie about this, and I was very concerned that he was being influenced and giving a platform. Tucker Carlson, I think, gave a keynote address at one of the major Turning Point events, and I didn't get a good answer, and I told Charlie that I can't finance you anymore. I feel very good about my past helping Turning Point and helping you. You've used the money appropriately. You really helped President Trump get elected, the ground game that he did in those borderline states. But going forward, and I don't see, I don't like the trend of the organization going forward. So I'm going to stop financing it.
Okay. So untimely death. Okay. All right, Bob. What Bob Shillman is referring here specifically to is the Tucker Carlson keynote in June of 2025. This is where Charlie told Tucker backstage to go max before he appeared. And this was revealed to us, if you guys remember, by Megyn Kelly, who released the video. And now the coordinated Zionist smear campaign is heavy against her. But I also want you to be aware of the fact that around this same time, Turning Point USA as an organization was labeled an extremist group by the ADL. Shillman comes off here as very polite and polished. And to the untrained ear, you might think, well, sure, this sounds reasonable, but not us high IQ goyim here. This is one of Turning Point's largest donors approaching Charlie Kirk and telling him that if he platforms Tucker Carlson, he is literally using the word platform because the Zionist right is just the same as the woke left all over again. They're just woke for a different cause. But he just confirmed it right there. He told Charlie that if he continues to platform the Jew hater, Tucker Carlson, he is pulling his money. He also, at another point in this interview, explained how he was helping Turning Point purchase and build a new building. The plan was the building was going to be named the Shillman Freedom Center. He pulled his funding from that also, and he told Turning Point USA that they can name it whatever they want, but not the Shillman name if they are going to continue down this path. He finished that clip that you just listened to right there, saying that he did not like the direction that Turning Point USA was going, and he decided to stop financing it. Here now, these two talk about that different direction and what was going on with Charlie Kirk and why his views on Israel were shifting. What is revealed here is a massive mistake that Charlie made with another billionaire Zionist donor, but it also leads some questions as to where Turning Point USA 2.0, led by Erika Kirk, we need to know about this. I want you guys to take a listen.
I think was going on with Charlie. Charlie seemed to be pro-Israel. He made trips to Israel. I've seen him pose with the Israeli flag. He's been at the wall. He seemed to be a supporter, a sympathizer with Israel. Was it the case that, in your view, Charlie was moving in the other direction, or was he just saying, hey, listen, Tucker's a great buddy of mine and he has his own views, I have my own views, but on that basis of friendship, I want to give him a platform? What was going on in Charlie's mind? Because I think this is something people are grappling with, and you got to see it up close.
Right. And when he began to become a strong supporter of Israel, and by the way, that was partly motivated by a donor, Bernie Marcus, who was founder of Home Depot,
right?
Who, as I recall, Charlie told me, gave him a $10 million grant to start a group, a pro-Israel group within Turning Point. And when I saw that happening, I spoke to Charlie at an event that I was attending with him, and I said, "This is a mistake, Charlie. Even though I'm very pro-Israel, of course, I'm known to be a Zionist, I told him it was a mistake for him to take positions outside of the main core of what Turning Point is all about. Turning Point is about free enterprise, capitalism, the literal interpretation of the Constitution, and freedom of speech." And I said, as soon as you start being involved in other peripheral causes, although they may be good, in my view, it's a good one, you shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. So even though he was doing something that I would normally approve of outside of Turning Point, I suggested he not do it. In the same way, when he became somewhat, not he, but he was promoting people who are anti-Israel or anti-Zionist or Jew haters, I told him you shouldn't do it.
It seems like what you were saying to Charlie, in effect, was
stick to your knitting.
And stick to America first. You don't go outside of the American agenda.
Because as soon as you start, and I think what happened, he went to college campuses, and this was after October 7th, 2023, and there were a lot of questions by the students, which I don't know if they were prepared ahead of time, but they were poking him about Israel. Why are you so interested in Israel? It's not American. It's not pro-American. So I think that helped change his mind or his direction. And he never said anything, that would indicate that he was a Jew hater or an anti-Semite. But certainly by keeping Candace Owens on their website, and you can still, I don't know if you can still find her there, but she was there, probably not, given the relationship with now. But she was there when I was involved, and I said, I don't like, I thought she was out. She was still there. You'd have to find it. But certainly Tucker Carlson was being promoted, and I think that's what happened. It was in reaction to all the questions he was getting by the students on college campuses.
I think
so. Dinesh is about to ask Shillman right there if Charlie actually took that $10 million from Bernie Marcus, that Home Depot founder, to start that Jewish group within Turning Point USA. And you're going to want to hear that answer. But first, I want to address this. The Israel question has become an America First question. This war with Iran and whether America should be involved in it on behalf of Israel, a foreign nation, is certainly something that Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA were heavily involved in. And yes, Charlie had his finger on the pulse of America's young people because he was constantly talking and engaging with them on college campuses, on his show. He was hearing what they were saying. He was also experiencing firsthand the ill treatment of Zionist donors, as made clear in the text messages that we just went through. Charlie's shift in thinking was evident of a more broad shift away from Christian Zionism in America at large. Why do millions of Americans who do not believe in this religious belief have to fund it with our taxpayer dollars? Millions of Americans do not believe that we are biblically required or obligated to support this nation state of Israel or the Jewish religion. So, especially, why do we need to fight their wars? We are sick of being gaslit about what we should or should not believe. And we are sick and tired of being told that we are evil or demonic if we do not fully pledge our support to Israel. But here is precisely where Charlie got himself in trouble. He overexposed himself to Zionists, and it was too late. Let's continue this last part of the clip.
I think what you're describing is here's Charlie, and he wanted. Did he take the money from Bernie Marcus? Did he take the $10 million?
Yes.
He did. Okay,
Yes.
so he's committed over here,
Right.
and at the same time, the students are kind of over here. So when Charlie said, he said, I'm being pressured by the donors. But really what...
No, I wasn't pressured by it. I never tried to pressure him. I just said this is not consistent with the mission of Turning Point. That's what I said. You should stick to the mission of Turning Point. And although you may get less tweets or less people attending your conference, this is what you should be doing.
Because this is what you set out to do.
That's what he set out to do, and that's what I funded.
Yeah. So, okay, that's dishonest. That's dishonest. There is no pressure being applied as long as Charlie kept to the mission of Turning Point, which is what? To not speak out against the state of Israel? Shulman says, no, there was no pressure applied by him, except he literally approached Charlie Kirk to tell him to deplatform Tucker, get Turning Point USA back on Zionist track, or else lose funding. That is actually the definition of pressure from Zionist donors. But you heard it right there. Charlie Kirk took the $10 million grant from Bernie Marcus to start the Jewish group within Turning Point USA. Guys, I want to know what group that is. What group is that? Turning Point USA Faith? Like, seriously, I want to know what that money went to specifically. And that's a good segue now into Erika Kirk. Before we get to this Trump appointment of her, though, I'm going to take a quick break for today's sponsor. And you guys, I wanted to do this wellness company sponsor today because I want you guys to see this. This Natalie Jean Beisner, she's a big account on X, and she actually reached out to the wellness company to have them withdraw from Candace Owens because of what she's been talking about. I'm asking why the wellness company continues to sponsor Candace Owens, given that she's baselessly accusing people of murder and bullying and harassing Charlie's widow. Is that something you guys stand behind? The wellness company responded and said, we have been working with Candace for 2 years, and we also worked with Charlie Kirk close to the same amount of time before his passing. We are running a business, and Candace has a top podcast with an audience base who believes and supports medical freedom, the foundation of our brand's North Star. So I thought it fitting today that I squeeze in a wellness company sponsor because they sponsor my channel here as well, and I'm happy to have them. So here we go. This is
not
ivermectin
alone
skin
dealing
cream.
with bad skin as an adult with acne. You are dealing with an untreated root cause. It starts small, little redness, a few bumps, and then it expands. You go through this cycle of doctor appointments and trying product after product with no real relief. You're not alone. 25% of adults struggle with acne, and more than 14 million Americans battle rosacea. 1 in 10 people suffer from chronic dermatitis or eczema. These are not just cosmetic issues. They itch, burn, and crush confidence. Store-bought treatments only mask symptoms while ignoring bacteria, mites, and inflammation. And many have harsh chemicals that cause severe side effects. Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream from the Wellness Company is different. This dermatologist-designed prescription formula targets the root cause safely and gently under the skin. Azelaic acid helps clear clogged pores and brighten skin. Ivermectin targets Demodex mites and reduces inflammation. Metronidazole helps control bacteria overgrowth and calm irritation. Stop guessing. Get Clear Skin Ivermectin Cream and transform your skin back to normal. Go to twc.health/Zach and use code Zach to save $20 off plus free shipping.
So one of you guys comment here. We should all order from the Wellness Company and use her as in Candace's code. Good on the Wellness Company. Yes, good on the Wellness Company. But come on, guys. Use my code. Use the one that I just gave you. Candace does well. Come on. Come on. And you're on my channel. I'm the one that brought that news to you. Come on. I appreciate you guys. But the Wellness Company, look, it was founded, and one of the lead doctors for the Wellness Company is Dr. Peter McCullough, who was basically canceled during COVID for speaking out against the COVID vaccine. So everyone that's following me here, you know, you guys, that's a company, a medical company that aligns with all of our values. So, you know, a big reason that they're a sponsor here as well. And you guys have seen a number of their different products, the Smile toothpaste, the Ivermectin cream. They've got, you know, medical kits. Check it out. Check them out. Check them out. They're a good company. But all right. Whew. If you already saw this today and thought that it was an April Fool's joke, I think some of you guys did. I hate to tell you, we're only in March. If you thought, well, are we living in hell? We might be. We might just be. President Trump has appointed Erika Kirk to the Air Force Academy Board of Visitors, where she will help advise the Defense Department on issues affecting the Academy. Erika is taking the position of her late husband, Charlie, who was slated to hold this position before he was assassinated in September. Erika joins the panel that oversees morale, discipline, curriculum, and fiscal affairs at the Air Force Academy and advises the Defense Department. Oh, and it gets even worse because they because they know this is bullshit, guys. This is bullshit. Look at this. So, Mrs. Kirk's role, or Miss Kirk, I don't know what you say about a widow, but this is an article that was written by KOAA News. Miss Kirk's official appointment to the Board of Visitors appeared to happen quietly over the weekend with no formal announcement. But it wasn't a sudden decision. In a statement, Representative August Pfluger out of Texas, he's a Republican out of Texas, who chairs the BOV, the Board of Visitors, said that he had encouraged Erika Kirk's appointment months ago and applauded President Trump for it. It'll be interesting to know if there's any connection between Erika Kirk and that specific U.S. congressman there from Texas, August Pfluger. He said that Erika is the right person to fill Charlie's place on the board and continue his work of inspiring the next generation of service members and advancing the academy. That's what Representative Pfluger said. I look forward to working alongside her to carry on Charlie's legacy. The White House, as you can see here, did not respond for any comment. And it goes on to say that membership in the congressionally mandated Board of Visitors is attained through appointments by the president and through lawmakers designated by congressional leadership. So basically, you're appointed by the president. You got to know somebody in Congress who's going to appoint you to this position. It then goes on to say that the Board of Visitors is an oversight committee that monitors the morale, curriculum, academic methods, and other issues relating to the U.S. Air Force Academy. Though it can't force any change, the board does make recommendations to the secretaries of the Air Force and of Defense. All right. So that means reporting to Pete Hegseth. What in the hell are we doing? What qualifies Erika Kirk for this. You guys, I'm sorry, but being the widow of an influential husband does not qualify you to advise the Defense Department about Air Force standards, morale, or education. This is what you would call a DEI hire. This is utterly ridiculous and it's unacceptable. We just heard Erika Kirk last week try to justify her position as CEO of Turning Point USA, saying that, well, you guys, I had businesses before this. I had started businesses. I was an entrepreneur, that I had set up these businesses to be self-sustainable so that I could then stay home with my children. And then she encourages other women to do similar types of things. But let's be real. Bible 365 and her Proclaim clothing line, guys, how successful do we think these businesses actually are? I mean, I've got a merch line. I've got, almost 300,000 subscribers here on YouTube, some more on other social media platforms. I pitch the merch line sometimes. We talk about it. It's not making world-changing money. It's not making money that you can. I'm not going to say, oh, me as an entrepreneur, as a part of my resume, I've got this merch line that is killing it. Like, that's not something I'm going to add on my resume to a high-profile, political, influential organization that qualifies me to be the CEO of that organization. This is completely ridiculous. She is wholly unqualified, not only to be the CEO of Turning Point USA, she doesn't have what it takes. She doesn't have the resume, the background, the proof of competence. She did not ever build any sustainable real business or platform on her own. She tried to. We all know this. We've all seen her. She's been striving to be famous and to be in the spotlight for her entire career. And she was not able to get there on her own. She inherited this platform from Charlie Kirk, who was actually the real talent, had the real it factor. He's the one who built this powerful, influential organization. She has now inherited that. She's in over her head. She does not have what it takes. They've got events all around the country that are being canceled because, quite frankly, people just do not want to hear Erika Kirk's take on politics, on culture, or on her Christian Zionism that she's spreading through the Make Heaven Crowded Again tour. Like, nobody wants to hear this stuff. We certainly, and the outrage on this is insane. Okay. X is lighting up with people who are just like, what is this? This is utterly ridiculous. Like, President Trump, what are you thinking? This is not merit-based. This is not this is not capitalism, as so many people on the right try to tout. Like, this is DEI. This is DEI. This is a sympathy hire. This is, hey, something terrible happened to your husband, and that's bad, right? We all agree with that. But no, Erika Kirk is not the right person to fill in this role if Charlie Kirk was going to be involved in it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I do not want Erika Kirk to be serving in any capacity on a board that advises the State Department or the Department of Defense on what military standards, morale, and education should be. I'm sorry. She's wholly unqualified to be in this position. She's unqualified to be the CEO of Turning Point USA. She is. Okay. If Charlie wanted her to be CEO of Turning Point USA, Charlie wanted her to be president of the United States. Okay. All right. Then we disagree with Charlie is what it all comes down to. Whew, my goodness. So, as you guys know, I was in such a great mood. Gosh, I was in such a great mood. Getting blocked by Dave Rubin literally made my day. And then I get on X and then I see this. And then I see this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, let's get to some of your guys' comments here. Yeah, I wanted to bring this one up because I saw it. It's a big deal because she is not qualified for anything. This is why people care. It's like, why do you care if she's filling into this role for Charlie? This is because there's injustice here. There's injustice here. She is not qualified for this position, and they keep putting this woman in positions of influence that she does not deserve to be in. Being a widow, as terrible as it was, that her husband was publicly assassinated, does not qualify her to be the CEO of his organization. It does not qualify her to be in positions of influence within our government. Certainly doesn't. I mean, it's a complete joke to even talk about Erika Kirk as president or vice president of the United States, which, again, all the news of Erika Kirk, Vance Kirk 2028, Baron Coleman finding the website was created after Charlie passed away. We've got Candace put out yesterday. We've got Mikey McCoy, Rob McCoy, Frank Turek talking about Erika Kirk still being on that ticket, filling in for Charlie. And you think it's ridiculous. And then you see something like this from President Trump, where they're putting her on a military board of advisors to fill in for her husband, Charlie Kirk. So they actually think that she can fill in for Charlie. Am I taking crazy pills? Like, this is like, this is why I go to my wife and I'm like, hey, like, am I stupid? Is there something wrong with me? Am I off here? And thank God for, I have a very good, close-knit group of friends, and we all practice our Christian faith. We all like get outside, have real relationships with each other. We all really want what's best for our kids. Like, we're all parents of larger families. We all go to church together. We all participate in the same extracurricular activities within our community. Like, we have dinner together. We have real conversation. It's extremely helpful and meaningful. And everybody that I talk to that is practicing the same lifestyle, who I would consider base, like just base normal people that don't actually have like skin in the game when it all comes to this stuff, they're just like, yeah, this is off. This is wrong. Like, we all see it. It's all, I go online and you see this coordinated group of people that like don't see any of this stuff. And you're just like, what is wrong with these people? And then it makes you question yourself. You're like, okay, like, am I off here? Am I off? And then you go and talk to just real people and you're just like, all right, I think I'm good. Oh my goodness. But wow. All right. And then the next one that I want to bring up here, because this is what Bob Shillman said about Tucker Carlson. Yeah, Tucker is no Jew hater. He specifically lays that out himself. He's flat out lying. And you are 100% correct. Tucker has said it, I don't even know how many times. He does not hate individuals who are Jewish. He does not hate other people because they believe in the Jewish religion. That is completely false. And Tucker has made that very clear many, many times. Tucker's issue is the Zionist issue and the Zionist infiltration into the U.S. government, media, and politics, and the outsized influence that they have in those arenas. And it's very real, and it's not make-believe. Stop believing all of these individuals that all coordinate to make you think that you're crazy for like, oh, it's always the Jews. Like, that's not what we're saying. But like, what we're saying is that Zionist influence in American politics, media, and culture has significant overweighted influence. And it's because we have a government that is made up of people who are both taking money from the pro-Israel lobby. I've said this to you guys, I don't know how many times, 443 of like the 523 members of our U.S. government, members of Congress, all take money from the pro-Israel lobby. Okay, that's AIPAC or other similar type of organizations. That is a huge influence within our own government. All right, so we all see it. And then we all see how these different very influential and powerful Israel lobbying groups, we see how much money they pay. We see how much money they use to buy politicians within our government. But then we also see the influence that they have in the legislative process when it comes to like the ADL, for example, using 40 full-time analysts to monitor the activity of individuals online. They report to the FBI. This is the same organization that labeled Turning Point USA under Charlie Kirk an extremist organization, right? And then they report this to the FBI. But then even screw the FBI, leave that out. What they also do is they find these individuals online, see what they're talking about, and then they disperse it out to a network of lawyers that they have to see if they'll take up any cases to battle anti-Semitism. So basically, they'll work to monitor and then report it to their lawfare, their network of lawyers, so they can then disperse that out, see which lawyer is going to take it up, so they can then wage lawfare against these individuals that they find or that they deem anti-Semitic. And what are they doing? What has the ADL defined as anti-Semitism? Anti-Zionism. So you see the problem here. You see the problem. And then the last thing I'll say on that is the ADL is also leading the charge in the repeal of Section 230. There's a bill being introduced by our good buddy and good friend that's been in the news, warmonger, neocon, Zionist, who literally just said, God bless Israel, signing off on Sean Hannity last night, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is leading the charge to repeal Section 230 so that the ADL can then go after anybody on any social media platform, YouTube, Rumble, whatever, stripping away Section 230, removes the protection that social media companies have to be a public square. It makes them responsible for what individuals say on their platform, which opens them up to, guess what? Lawsuits and lawfare against organizations like the ADL, who can then go at these companies for spreading hate speech, anti-Semitism, anti-Zionism, etc. So do you see and you understand the problem with all of this? So pointing this out and observing all of this and being like, no, I'm not for that. Like me as a conservative, orthodox, meaning original believing Christian, I don't believe in Zionism. I'm anti-Zionist. I am. I do not believe that the current nation state of Israel is the biblical Israel. I don't believe that. And I don't believe that I don't believe they have a biblical entitlement to the promised land. I don't believe that. Zionism is not just that the Jews get a place to live. That's not Zionism. That's not it. Zionism is the belief that the Jews, that Israel of the Old Testament, is the current nation state of Israel, and that they have a biblical entitlement to the promised land, which is not just the section of land that we're in, it's greater Israel. Tucker Carlson got Mike Huckabee to admit as much and said that if they wanted to take the rest of that land, then they could. Biblically, they could. And this is the issue with Zionism, because it's a religious belief. And it's a religious belief that a lot of us American taxpayers who don't believe in it have to fund. And now we got to go to war based on this religious belief. It's unacceptable. This does not mean that you're a Jew hater. This does not mean that you're a Jew hater. Look, I disagree with a lot of people and what they believe in. I don't believe in Judaism. I don't believe in Christian Zionism. I don't believe in Islam. I don't believe in Buddhism. I don't believe in Hinduism. Like, name the belief system. Name the ideology that's not Christianity. I don't believe in it. It doesn't mean I hate these people. It doesn't mean I hate these people. I get really annoyed. I can hate the behavior of these people sometimes. It doesn't mean I hate the individual person. Like, we would hope as Christians that every individual person would recognize their behavior, recognize what we would consider as Christians unbelief, and then turn around. Like, our hope is that every single person who's not Christian accepts Christ as Christian and then repents, which is returns their life around. Metanoite is the word that Christ used when he said, repent, turn your life around, do a 180 turn on your life and come to me. That's what we want. That's what we want. We don't have any hate towards these individual people. We want them to change their ways. We want them to get away from these ideologies and these belief systems that we disagree with. That's what we're fighting for. That's what we're fighting for. All right, Veronica, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Holistic Ology. Charlie was on that same board, FYI. Look, I know Charlie was on it. I know that. Or he was going to be. Look, if that board wanted to appoint Charlie Kirk to it, that is another issue. Charlie Kirk is not Erika Kirk. Charlie Kirk was an accomplished, very important strategic political advisor to the president of the United States. I mean, we've talked about this before. Charlie was instrumental in convincing this stupid setting. I don't even know how to get rid of it. The thumbs up. Charlie was instrumental in influencing President Trump away from Bibi Netanyahu's wishes back in June to execute Operation Midnight Hammer rather than doing what we're doing now and engaging in a regime change war in Iran. This was a big deal. Charlie Kirk had sway within the government. Charlie Kirk had, as I just said, had his finger on the pulse of the American people, especially America's young people. I literally hate that thumbs up thing. My gosh. So yeah, Charlie had an idea and knew what strategic thinking was as it relates to the American government and what was best for America. So I definitely trust Charlie's judgment more serving on a board like that advises the U.S. Air Force Academy and advises the Defense Department and the secretaries of the Air Force and the Secretary of Defense on those matters. But even so, like the board, the Air Force board was getting pushback on even Charlie being on that. Go and read that article that I just shared from KOAA. The board of advisors was getting heat for having Charlie on that board because he didn't have any military experience. So look, there are people within the military community that may have had pushback with Charlie being on that board. But I can see that I can certainly see the argument for having Charlie being that influential political figure and advisor that he was to the top levels of government being on a board like that. You're not going to make that same argument for Erika, though. Like I think that's the joke. That's the joke. Like, no, just because Charlie was on it doesn't mean that Erika is then the right person to then step into that role. Just because Charlie was the CEO of Turning Point USA doesn't mean that Erika Kirk is the right person to step into that role. I personally, and you guys know this, I've said this many times, I don't believe that she's the right person to step into that role. I believe, because I care for widows and I abide by what scripture tells us, believe that Erika Kirk should be home with her kids who need her, especially during this difficult and tough time in their lives. I mean, the most important person in Charlie and Erika Kirk's kids' lives is Erika Kirk right now. Their mother. They need her. They need her. And as far as what she should be doing, she should not be taking over in the role of Turning Point USA in the weeks, a week or two after Charlie got killed. She shouldn't be taking on the travel schedule that Charlie had taken on. She shouldn't be taking on the board positions and advising the U.S. Department of Defense on military matters. Like, she should not be vice president or president of the United States, which they seem to be floating out there right now because they think we're all just stupid. There's no other way to say it. They must think that we are absolutely stupid, idiotic, lowest IQ people to think that that would be a good idea that the American people would get on board with. Like, it truly is. It is mind-boggling. It's baffling. Truly it is baffling. But yeah, I mean, look, Charlie being on that board doesn't mean that Erika Kirk should be, is what it all comes down to. But just that final note there on her being the widow. I mean, look, that's where she should be. That's where she should be. She shouldn't be taking on Charlie's role, and she should be at home with her kids who need her. And don't tell me that you have to go to work because you have to be the sole provider for your children. That's not true. And we know that that's not true because we know that she just made at least the low number is $15 million from Tucker Carlson's Give, Send, Go and from the life insurance policy that paid out from Turning Point USA. And there's more money there. Like, her and Charlie were already wealthy. I'm sure they've got money in their checking account when it all comes down to it. They sold their Arizona residence last year in 2024. They bought it for, I think, $475 and sold it for $524. They bought it for $4.75 million and they sold it for $5.25 million. So they made $500,000 off that too. And I believe I don't know the laws in Arizona, but like here where I live, if you sell your primary residence, you don't owe capital gains on that. So Pretty sure they were just able to pocket that 500 grand. So again, don't tell me. So we're sitting at 15,500,000 that she's got likely just sitting in her bank account. Yeah, don't tell me you have to go and take over the role within weeks of your husband passing away because you have to be the sole provider for your children. If you wanted to take on the board position, but hire an interim CEO for a year while or even until your kids get big enough to where they go to school. Like, I can understand that. That's something that Erika talked about. She was like, hey, like once your kids go to school and they're out of the house, then you can get back into the workforce. Erika has young kids that need her at home. They're not at that age yet. She's not at that point. So she literally reneged on all of her values that she spouted when Charlie Kirk was alive to take over this role. And then she gaslights us all to tell us that she needs to be the sole provider because she didn't expect this to happen and her children need her. It's just not true. It's dishonest. It's not true. We all see it and we're all sick and tired of it, is what it all comes down to. Whew. All right. Let's keep rolling. Celtic, thank you for the super chat. Fantastic. Dr. Erika Kirk, whose entire LinkedIn resume is a lie, is continuing to rise. Well, the biggest fall the hardest. We, the Goys, have cards too. Yeah, and we're not as low IQ goyim as they think that we are. But yeah, I mean, you go, and that's one of the things you can go and look at. Erika Kirk's resume. I mean, my goodness, it is impressive. It's impressive. Multiple degrees from multiple universities that we may not even be sure that she graduated from. That's a very interesting avenue that is being explored. Yeah, Baron Coleman is on that. I know that, like, that is very interesting. Why would you lie about that? This doesn't happen to normal people, you guys. It doesn't happen. It's so easy, you guys. It is so easy for you to go back into, like, my past, for example, and see that I went to University of Delaware for 2 years, and then I transferred to Radford University to play baseball. I had to sit out a year because when you transfer Division I to Division I, you have to sit out a year. So I did my last 2 years at Radford University. You can go and see it. It does this type of stuff where you have these universities with no proof that you were there, like, doesn't happen to normal people. It just doesn't. It doesn't. Like, everything, like, all of the people that I've met in my past, my friends, I know how I met them. The universities that I went to, the schooling that I had, like, you don't forget these things. I know where I went to school. I know where I went to elementary school. I know who my friends were. I know when I met them. You don't forget these things. It's weird, to say the least. And it makes us question, it makes us suspicious. Because look, if it was just straight up, like the rest of us, we all live our lives just straight up, these questions are so easily answered. They're so easily answered. We see it because we can observe reality. Renee, thanks for the super chat. Maybe she is his daughter. Are you saying that maybe Erika Kirk is President Trump's daughter that we don't know about? That would be something. That would be quite a twist on all of this now, wouldn't it? Yeah, my goodness. I mean, I know there is evidence, or there's potential evidence, just because of Erika's past in the beauty pageant world, that Trump was very heavily involved in throughout his career, that especially during the time that she was doing it, that they may have overlapped. That is an interesting avenue. I don't think anybody knows that for sure, but there could be a connection there back in the past. But yeah, the daughter, that'd be kind of crazy. I think Candace has been pretty heavily invested in her family tree at this point. I know there are questions about potentially who her mother actually is based on what Candace has been looking into, but President Trump being the father would be that'd be quite the twist for sure. Bulletproof Garage, thank you for another one. Candace went off on Trump last night. Maybe this is his revenge. This goes against everything Charlie said, yet again wanting Erika home with the kids. Yeah, I saw Candace's episode last night. I mean, obviously she's certainly not happy with the administration, everything that they've been doing for sure. I mean, I think you guys get the sentiment as well here that I'm not fully happy with everything that's been going on. Yeah, and I'm one of those guys that really advocated for Trump during the election cycle. I really am. It's hard to say that I would, I'm not going to say that I regret my vote. Like, there was nothing changing my mind at the time. There was nothing changing my mind at the time. I'm not going to go back in time and vote for Kamala Harris. I didn't think that she was, again, we're talking about Erika Kirk being competent and being in a position that she is not qualified for. I believe firmly that Kamala Harris was not qualified to be the president of the United States. You want to talk about Joe Biden's resume? I mean, Joe Biden had a resume that you would argue was good enough to be president of the United States. I mean, that you look at that as an objective fact. Kamala Harris was not. I believe that President Trump was the right vote. Now, am I happy with the direction that the administration has taken since they were elected? No, I'm not happy in total with the direction that the administration has gone. Am I completely unhappy with everything 100% across the board? No, I think they have hit on some issues, but there are very important issues that I don't believe they've done a good job on. I don't believe they've done a good job. I think they overplayed their hand when it comes to immigration enforcement. I think they completely swung and missed on the Epstein files. I've said that to you guys many times. I think that was a blatant betrayal of why Trump was elected. He was supposed to be of the people. He was supposed to be not bought by the military industrial complex, the Zionist complex, the pharmaceutical industry. He was supposed to be the guy that was going to go in there and get the American government working on behalf of the American people again, for us. We had Maha, we had Elon Musk, we had Vivek Ramaswamy at the time going in and with Doge saying that they were going to find all the fraud, waste, and abuse in the American government and get rid of it all. And that was hot for the first couple months, and there was some really good stuff coming out of that. We found out what was going on with USAID. We found out what was going on with Department of Education, but then they kind of just fizzled out. Like, it just fizzled out. And and then you've got the Epstein files where they did that whole binder release, which was an absolute complete joke. And then you have President Trump saying, "Oh, we're still talking about that, the Epstein hoax." It's like, what? Like, what the heck, man? Like, no, that's a big deal for us, because that is a people against these elites that get away with whatever they want. They get rich and powerful off our backs, and then they live by different standards than the rest of us. So no, you were supposed to be the guy that was going to go in and hold them all accountable. And you just chose them over us. That's the issue with the Epstein files. And that's why so many people have a problem with it, because this was a movement that was supposed to be the people against the elites. And they chose the elites over us again. So now all of us are like, well, what the hell? What the hell? That's why so many people are unhappy. And that's why the Epstein files are such a big deal. And whoever's advising President Trump to say, like, oh, it's a hoax or it's a Democratic hoax, like, we don't give a shit about what the Democrats are saying about it. You were supposed to be on our side. That's the point. You were supposed to be the president of the people, and you chose the elites. So whoever's advising President Trump on the Epstein files is an idiot who needs to be fired. Period. And then you've got the heavy Zionist influence that President Trump seems to be caving to, which is, I mean, I'm surprised. I'm surprised, to be honest with you. They ran on no new wars. They ran on peace. And here we are at war with Iran on behalf of Israel. Yeah. Yep. I mean, tough stuff. And then, yeah, your last point there. This goes against everything Charlie said, yet again, wanting Erika home with the kids. Home needs you. Home needs you. That's a famous quote. That's why she wasn't there on September 10th at UVU. Home needs you. Everything that Charlie said in the public sphere, in the public arena, when he was with Erika, when he wasn't with Erika, was about the traditional conservative nuclear family. Mother in the home, husband out doing the work, providing, protecting for the family. I believe in it. This is how I live my life. My wife is at home with our children, and I am a firm believer that it is the best way to raise a family. And you're not talking me out of that. I believe, I have such incredible respect for my wife. I see her genius and the feminine genius when it comes to her just taking care of everything in the home, supporting me and everything that I do. It truly is like it provides such a level of meaning and fulfillment in 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 your life, especially as a man, that knowing that your wife is home with your children and it's your sole responsibility to go out and provide for them, like that enkindles a fire within you that is very hard to explain if you don't have it and you haven't experienced it for yourself. It takes you to another level. And that's a biological, it's a spiritual thing. Like, it's how we were made to live. And when you align yourself, again, we talk about Christianity, when you align yourself with reality, this is more than just checking the box and going to work on Sunday or professing with your mouth that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. This is the best way to live. This is an alignment with reality itself. And when you are aligned with reality, how we were made to live, you experience the good fruit that produces in your life. And yes, that is what Charlie advocated for while he was alive. So now we see all of this shift in that. We see the talking heads and the content that they're producing to get us to think that wasn't true, and we all see it because we can all observe reality. When you're aligned with reality, you can observe reality. And when you're aligned with reality, you can observe what is not reality. This is how our Christian faith defends us and protects us, keeps us aligned and safe in this world. Me Queen, thank you. There's no way there's some type of ties between Erika and Trump. I knew something was up when Trump lied during the Freedom Award to Erika Kirk. He told Charlie he didn't know Erika. Pure lies. It's a setup, in my opinion. It's just, it's so crazy to me that she was appointed to this position. It makes absolutely no sense. It truly is baffling. And it makes you think these things. It really does. It makes you think, okay, what's going on? There's something going on that we're unaware of that we got to find out. And yeah, and when you see these guys, when you see all these people in power say that, look, I just met Erika when Charlie introduced, it's like red flag. Red flag. Yeah, that is probably not true. That's probably not true. At this point, it's like, how many things are they going to say to us that just turns out not to be true, that we all just see right through? It's a setup. And unfortunately, we just live in a day and age where it just seems like that's the case. We're just constantly being set up. We're constantly trying to be molded and formed to be a certain way, to believe certain things and to be a certain way. This is also why the true religious, the deeply religious, and I would say the deeply religious Christians, true Orthodox believing Christians, this is why we are a problem, because we do not conform to the state. We do not conform to these different ideologies of the world. We are always a problem. We're always a problem for those in charge. Why? Because our allegiance and our priority is God and nothing else. Christ and nothing else. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what these powers of the world try to get us to believe or try to get us to do. We're not doing it. We understand that there is something worse. There is something worse than punishment, than death. We understand that the things of this world are not ultimately what we should fear. What we should fear is God. And betraying God, hell is worse than death. Hell is worse than death. And that's the line we hold. And that makes us very dangerous to the powers of this world. Intuition Jen. Wow. Thank you so much for the extremely generous donation. I really appreciate that. Hi, Zach. The book of Revelation speaks of the whore of Babylon. The whore is the nation organization, possible physical representation. The whore is a system steward. What Revelation says about this, Erika Kirk may be a representation. Any thoughts? I'm actually reading through the book of Revelation right now, and I did just get to that section about the whore of Babylon. The whore is the nation organization, possible physical representation. The whore is a system steward. Yes. So from what I understand is that the whore of Babylon is that nation or organization. Oh man, I don't want to say something that's going to get me in trouble here on YouTube. I really don't. You know what? Jen, let me get clear on this. I literally have this up. This is something that just came up in my reading of scripture. Let me go back to that and I will get back to you on this. All right. I want to be clear on this before I answer this. But I certainly do have thoughts on this and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for the comment though. Bieberhole, Sabby Sabs covered this. I don't know who that is. Trump put Charlie in the same or similar position in the Air Force. Yeah, I don't know who that is, but again, I already addressed this. I don't necessarily have an issue with Charlie being in that position. I have an issue with Erika being in that position. I think I made myself pretty clear on that. Basically, we got Democrats all over again. 100%. 100%. Especially, bringing up that point about the wellness company and Candace Owens and even Dave Rubin and Ben Shapiro, having a large influencer on X reaching out to sponsors and saying, hey, you need to pull your sponsorship from Candace Owens because of the stuff that she's covering. That is literally what the woke Democrats do if you don't agree with them. Like, that's literally cancel culture. That's literally what it is. So that's how they're behaving. It's just in the protection, and it's all about Israel now. That's what it's about. And I guess Erika Kirk is now wrapped up in this Israel issue. The Zionists are the ones defending Erika Kirk now. It's interesting. The same ones that were trying to hijack Charlie Kirk's Zionist legacy are the ones that say you can't criticize Erika Kirk, not in the least. And now we have them going after sponsors of people's shows, saying they need to cancel their sponsorships of those shows and trying to erode the foundation that a lot of these platforms make money off of. Completely despicable behavior. Despicable. It's gross. But that's who we're up against. That's who we're up against, and we know it. I will say, though, that, especially you have companies like the Wellness Company, these companies have gotten way stronger. They've gotten way stronger, and their tolerance level for this type of behavior has gotten significantly, they've gotten tougher. Their tolerance has gotten way less. So it's not as easy to peel sponsors away from individuals now. We just went through COVID. We all saw it. And, we've got people that know. That know the game. So, yep, but that's what we're dealing with. Thank you, misbehaving chick, for the super chat donation there. I appreciate you. Brett Booth, Zach, new sub, maybe. I saw your comment on geofencing and FBW. The Americans for Nonprofit Transparency website has all the evidence and dot connecting. Thanks for that. I'll check that out. Yeah, you guys have all seen this. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Evangelical Christians throughout the country are being geofenced, and we've got text messages. People are sending me a lot of text messages. I've seen a lot of them, and the different names are John, Jen, Matthew, Emma, Mia, all these sorts of names, disguising themselves as just wanting to have a conversation with you about the benefits of the state of Israel, about wanting to talk. Are you ready to talk about the war in Iran? Are you ready to talk about Israel? And then it's literally dialogue, and it debates you on the benefit of Israel. And these are American Christians that they're targeting here, going to people's phones to have these conversations. It is, again, when we talk about this infiltration, it's not just in the American government, body politic, media. They are now going after individuals throughout America. It is real, and you need to wake up if you're not aware of it. And thank you for that. I will check out that Americans for Nonprofit Transparency website. I appreciate you pointing me to that. Thank you. Me Queen, thank you, Zach. It's so hard not to be outraged. The anger we feel, especially after voting for these demons. We need prayers. 100% agree. 100% agree. Really frustrated. I'm frustrated by it. You know, and especially because I was such a huge advocate for Trump in this administration. It really is frustrating. It really is. I share in that. And I mean, the only thing that we can do, guys, I've said this many, many times. We've got to organize on our end. I saw someone put a post out today that talked about like the evangelical Christians, like the evangelical Zionist Christians in America. They make up a very powerful voting bloc. They really do. They really do. Zionists, whether Christian or Jew, make up a very powerful voting bloc and lobbying influence. They're beating us right now. Conservative, Orthodox, traditional believing Christians, we are getting our butts kicked. We're getting our butts kicked. I've said this many times. We've got to put aside some of our theological squabbles about certain things, and we've got to unite. We've got to organize. We've got to galvanize so that we have a powerful voice and lobbying position in America. That's the only way we can do it. That's the only way we can do it. We've got to do this. Otherwise, otherwise, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to get trampled over. Our rights are going to be taken away, are going to get infringed upon. We're going to be censored, silenced. They're going to take away our sponsors. They're going to, they're going to shut us down, and we're going to lose. And that's not acceptable. That's not acceptable because of ultimately what's on the line is the true practice of our faith, and that cannot happen. Thank you. All right, last one here. BJ Little, appreciate the super chat. It's awesome how Bob Shulman can pull his money if he doesn't like how it's being used, but we can't pull our tax money in the same manner. That's it. That's it. And that's the thing. These private organizations, if you don't like what they're doing, if you're a donor to a private organization or if you're a buyer of a certain product, you can always vote with your money. You can always vote with your dollar bills to hold that organization accountable for their behavior. Our tax dollars, they collect them. They collect them. And if we do not pay our taxes, oh my goodness, the consequences of that are complete and utter destruction of our lives. So, yeah, making the government pay, because that's, again, voting doesn't do enough. Voting does not do enough. That's the frustrating part of all of this. And we saw that, we've seen that clearly since Trump was elected. Voting does not do enough. The only way that we can ultimately make a dent and a difference to get these people's attention is to cut off their funding, cut off their money. That's what speaks. That's what they really care about. And we're in a position where it's very hard to hold them accountable because of the consequences that we as individuals get when we don't pay our taxes. Any little teeny tiny discrepancy on our taxes, oh, do we hear from the IRS within weeks of those discrepancies? They reach out to us for dollars. Then you've got these crooks in government that waste billions and billions of dollars, and they get away from it, and they get away with it scot-free. We're sick and tired of it. We're sick and tired of it. And something's got to change. All right, guys, that's going to be all for today. We went over an hour. That's longer than usual. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Check out the Wellness Company. Great sponsor. They're here in this fight with us. Check out ZachCostello.com if you want any merch. And make sure you like and subscribe. I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Zach Costello.